All right. Well, it looks like we are now live. Um, and we'll be waiting for people to actually log on. People are joining us now. Today, we are talking about the problems with the ballot measure process, specifically the proposed ballot measures to legalize marijuana in the state of Missouri, along with things like the property tax measure and all the other ballot measures that have been proposed and accepted by the Secretary of State and are available for circulation. However, with all the stay-at-home orders that we've had, a lot of these measures are not going to make it. They're not going to make the deadline. May 3rd, 160, 170,000 signatures. I forget the exact amount, but they aren't going to make that deadline. So what happens? The Citizens for or Missourians for a New Approach has undertaken their campaign, and they've had, they've recognized that they're going to have some issues. They realize that they've been working to collect 160,199 verified signatures. And of course, they always collect extra on these measures just to make sure that they have the signatures that are needed if any are disqualified. So with the closures and business closures, places that people may have gone to sign the petition are not there, and people aren't getting out to sign them. And that presents the issue because they are not going to make that deadline. Okay. John Payne, the campaign manager for Missourians for New Approach, said that they were looking to get 170,000 signatures. And they don't see any practical way that they're going to be able to acquire the signatures needed to get marijuana legalization on the ballot for the fall as a constitutional amendment. Now, we have a number of marijuana legalization ballot measures have been proposed, but frankly, Missourians for a New Approach is seems to be the best funded and organized that I've seen. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were the only one that had a chance of doing it. I think a lot of people would have signed those ballot measures and look forward to that. So what are they doing now? Well, Missourians for a New Approach, in an article on Attorney at Law magazine, said that and when they were interviewed by the Kansas City Star, they're starting to look at 2022. If they don't make the deadline, they're going to look at 2022 and keep driving forward. As of when they spoke with the Star or the Attorney at Law magazine, they'd only collected 80,000 of the signatures they needed. So I think it's safe to say that their proposal is not going to make the fall ballot. The next thing we have to look at is, are these ballot measures, is this system flawed? Maybe there's a better way of doing this. Maybe there's a way we can improve how we get things on a ballot. Because if something like, and I'm going to be deliberately slighting of the, oh, wow, I've almost forgotten. I'm sorry, 1 second. I'm going to be deliberately slighting of this whole COVID-19 illness thing and just point out that it is a flaw that, and I think it's truly a flaw, that they can shut down half of our society by claiming there's an illness. Yes, I understand people are getting sick, people are dying. Truly not that many in the scheme of things. 1 death, 10 deaths is a tragedy. 10,000 is a statistic. On the great scheme of numbers, there's not that many. Now, if you know somebody, it's horrible and it's devastating. We can't say anything about that. And I'm walking myself in the corner here. So, Missourians for a New Approach probably not going to get their plan through. The other one, number 2020-070, which was submitted by Mark Peterson of Colorado, actually, is to amend the Constitution to repeal all current medical marijuana provisions, remove state provisions on prohibitions on possession, consumption, cultivation, sale of marijuana for personal or medical use, regardless of age, legally allow driving under the influence of marijuana, release all individuals from incarceration, parole, probation, if convicted only of nonviolent marijuana-related crimes, remove state prohibitions on commercial cultivation, manufacture, distribution, and sale of marijuana, destroy all state civil and criminal records of nonviolent marijuana-related crimes, prohibit Missouri from assisting law enforcement or enforcement of federal marijuana offenses, and prohibit taxation of physician-recommended medical marijuana. You know, that one, I can tell you, I don't think would pass just on the basis of authorizing driving under the influence of marijuana. People aren't going to vote for that. Everything else there was great, but that clause is going to be the death knell for that. And I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't think they've come anywhere near the signature requirements to get that going. Now, unfortunately, the personal property tax provision that's been out and is being circulated, I will flip over to that here 1 second. It's number 2020-038. It was submitted by Rick Combs of Lowman, Missouri. And that was amending the Missouri Constitution to prohibit state, counties, and other political subdivisions from imposing or collecting any tax on personal property other than sales tax. Okay. As I'm sure you all know, personal property tax in Missouri is where after you pay income tax on money you earned, then you pay sales tax on the stuff you bought with the money you earned that you'd already been taxed on. Then they want to tax you for keeping it. So, for example, you go out, you bust your ass, you work, you make the money to buy a new car. Okay, you've already paid the income tax on the income. Then when you purchase your car, you pay sales tax on the car. Then that next year, you have to pay personal property tax on the car that you've already paid sales tax for, and purchase with income that you already paid income tax on. You know, there's a proposal that wants to end that. I think it's an excellent proposal. I think it should be, it's high time we ended this, but it's very unlikely that they're going to get the number of signatures to get that on the ballot, in part because of the stay-at-home orders. Okay, I have a question here. Rick Kirksey, how about removing sales convictions, marijuana? You know, and these are things that we really should do. When you flip over and you look at the amendments submitted by the Missourians for New Approach, they want to remove the state prohibitions. They want to allow people with marijuana-related offenses to apply for sentence reduction and records expungement. And clearly, we need to. There are so many people that have been criminalized because of marijuana, excuse me, and this horrible war on drugs that we've had for far too long, instead of addressing the issues and the freedoms and problems that come with that. Hey, morning, Dale. So, you know, for those of you that are just joining me now, we spoke very briefly about how Citizens Missourians for a New Approach is very likely not going to have the signatures they need to get their proposal on the fall ballot. It looks like from the interviews that they have done that they're shooting for 2022 now. I don't believe they have a clear path forward for the 2020 ballot. That does not mean that legalized marijuana is not an option until the 2022 ballot, because frankly, the state of Missouri is in a crisis. We have a $500 million plus budget shortfall this year. On April 1st, the governor suspended and stopped $180 million in spending. Now, what does that mean? That means that we don't have the money to do what the state has already committed to do. And for those of you who are familiar with the Hancock Amendment, the state is also very limited in how it can go about raising money. Our budget is tied to the citizens' income level. And will they find a way around that? We've got some smart people. I don't know what they'll do, and I'm sure they're going to do something. They have to. But it's very likely that services that we're depending on are going to be cut. Ironically, DHSS and medical marijuana program is self-funded by your fees. So that may not be cut. It might be medical marijuana that keeps the Department of Health and Senior Services open. And we'll see if any of that money actually makes it to veterans, which would be nice. Don't know that it will, can't guarantee that it will, but that is the hope. So right now, let's look at what the state has cut. University of Missouri system, of course, anytime the state wants to cut money, one of the first places they go is University of Missouri system. They're cutting at least $2.5 million out of them, mostly for Precision Medicine Initiative. So let's think about that. Our state, our governor, is cutting funding to a medical program during a pandemic outbreak. If you think that makes no sense, I probably agree with you. They're also cutting $61 million for four-year higher education institutions in Missouri. Community colleges in Missouri are losing about $12 million, 11.6. $5 million for the Fast Track Workforce Incentive Fund to help get more adults to earn post high school degrees. Okay, so killing $5 million there because let's not help people get more educated and become more marketable in the environment we're going into. Cutting $1 million in Port Authority capital improvements. Cutting $7.1 million for Missouri Consolidated Healthcare Plan. Again, cutting healthcare in the middle of a epidemic or pandemic, I don't see why that makes sense. Cutting $12.5 million from DNR's multi-purpose water resource program, and a hazardous waste and mined land reclamation program are also going to be affected. The multi-purpose water resource program funds planning, design, and construction renovation of public water supplies, flood control, storage, drought, and water treatment and transmission facilities projects. So we're going to cut your health care, we're going to cut your job training, and we're going to cut your access to clean water. Meanwhile, we're going to keep spending money on some of the silly shit we don't need. Economic development, they're going to cut $13 million, including $6.5 million for Division of Tourism and $3.3 million for Missouri One Start Job Development Program. Okay. The governor's picking and choosing what he can cut and what he won't cut. And they also cut $54 million for facilities maintenance for state buildings. Okay. This cutting tourism right now, we want people to stay home, makes sense. Why are they spending tourism money right now? We don't want you to come to Missouri. We want you to stay home. Cutting a job program, again, I don't understand why we'd cut job programs in a time like this, where we have shut down so many small businesses and so many people in the state of Missouri are going to be needing jobs in the near future. So yeah, it's serious. This is 180 million. If you want to look at the governor's report, I'm looking at a news story on this from April 1st, newstribune.com. Missouri faces 500 million budget shortfall, 180 million spending restriction. That's going to get worse. But there is light at the end of this tunnel. And it's not a white light, it's a green light. If the state legislature, the people that have the ability to do this, with a couple of quick votes, decide that they're going to legalize marijuana in the state of Missouri and tax the ever-loving crap out of it, they may well see an end to their budget shortfall. If they legalize marijuana, tax it, hit it with a 10% tax, special sales tax, 500 million, yeah, they could come up with that. So now I'm not trying to be an activist or, carry people to a political point of view. It's not my interest. But realistically, this is something that is going to happen in Missouri. The legislature could choose to do it now, knowing that the populace is going to do it. And in this way, the legislature could retain the control that they lost with medical marijuana. Now, will they do it? They might. Things might be getting bad enough in Jeff City that they may actually see some sense and seek that as a resolution. But I can't say that they're going to do it. Looks like we've got, a few people on at the moment. Any questions about the ballot process or where we're going? Oh, Dale. I have to understand the real goal, then all this will make sense. The goal is to collapse the economy and suspending the Constitution. I can understand that point of view. But I think if their goal is to collapse the economy so they can suspend the Constitution, they're assuming that they're going to be able to remain in charge. And that might work in some areas. That might work in New York. That might work in LA or California. It ain't going to work in rural Missouri. In rural Missouri, we have far too many people that are not going to tolerate that. I mean, that just won't happen. And I don't think it'll happen in rural Iowa where we are, or even down along the Arkansas border. Let's face it. We're Midwesterners. It's herding cats, guys. The only thing we can agree is that, Cardinals are good and the Cubs aren't. And even that, we can't really agree on that. But so, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things going on. And as far as ballot measures, and citizen access and participation is dropping dramatically. And that's one of the big concerns. My own city of Kirksville here, is doing their city council meetings all on YouTube and on Facebook. They're going live. And it's good that they have that transparency, but they're losing the citizen comment portion of the meeting. So we can see it, but you still can't participate. And I'm not sure that they're trying, and they really are trying. And I'm not complaining. I'm trying. I want to give them credit for that. They're trying to keep the meetings open. But I'm not sure that the net result is that they in fact are. So some cities may be doing things differently. I'd love to hear how they are doing them. But right now, this has impacted what we do so much that it's frankly, it's a problem. You need to be able to go to your city council. You need to be able to go to your county commission meetings. You need to be able to speak up and be heard. You have a right to petition your government to redress grievances. Now, you also have open meetings rights. Our meetings are required to be open. How they're balancing that under this situation is difficult. So we have to give some allowance, and Dale might disagree with me here, but we have to give some allowance for the city to take some steps, or the political subdivision take some steps that may be necessary given the orders we have from higher regarding meetings and population in an environment. I know Kirksville has an alternate site where they have set up screens for people to see the council meetings while keeping the social distancing requirements. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know. One of our county commissioners puts out a report on his emergency committee and his calls with SEMA and FEMA that they have every day. Every day he talks about where they are and what they're doing. And that's also a good thing. But at some point, run into problems like the state of Wisconsin and their election. Wisconsin held an election that is poorly subscribed to and conducted in a dismal manner because we're not ready for this. We're not ready to ensure that we can take the steps to protect people's health at the same time we take steps to protect their rights. And I'm in the minority, man. I think your rights are more important than your health. I think that we will find a balance. And I am clearly in the minority on that. But okay, any questions regarding the ballot measures? Some of you have just joined us. What we had talked about briefly before, I'll summarize that Missourians for a New Approach has indicated that there is no clear path forward that they can get their measure, get all the signatures collected and get their measure onto the ballot for the fall, which places Missouri's marijuana legalization efforts for this year in jeopardy. Dale, if anybody was going to agree with me on that, I knew it was going to be you. So those issues being in jeopardy present a problem for all ballot measures going forward. If there's an emergency and they shut things down during the signature collection period, what does that do? And that's, legislators already stated they want to reduce the ability for citizens to place things on the ballot. They want to make it more difficult. Why? Because the citizens are doing things the legislature doesn't like. And we're doing them because the legislature isn't doing what we want them to do. The legislature doesn't like losing control. And make no mistake about it, that is a very important thing. You must respect the authority. I hope you picked up the sarcasm there. So where we're going from here, lobby your legislature. Contact your representatives, contact your state senators and say, hey, this is something we all wanted. This is something we still want. The fact there are 80,000 signatures collected before the emergency took effect goes to show that, clearly Missourians wanted that. If the legislature doesn't do it, we will in 2 years, and the state legislature will lose control of it, just like they did with medical marijuana. State legislature is very upset that they don't have control and they can't do the tweaks they want to do to help out the individual special interest. And that's a problem. Now, some of you may have noticed that I keep playing with my finger. I've got a sliver here. What we have been doing during the slow time at my house with my families, we've completely redone the backyard. We built some raised bed planters and planted some potatoes. We're trying to train the dog to stay the hell out of them now. If anybody has a tip for that, I'd love to hear it. No. But yeah, I've been doing an ungodly amount of work reorganizing the wood shop and the garage. But yeah, now my hands are all tore up again because apparently I'm not smart enough to go get gloves when I start that. Other ballot measures that have been certified, we can talk about those briefly, that don't know if they're going to make it or not. There are ballot measures relating to collective bargaining, ballot measures relating to worker freedom, ballot measures relating to immigration enforcement. That one is asking whether or not you want to amend the Constitution to provide that municipalities and their officials shall cooperate with requests from ICE to detain, main custody of, or transfer aliens to ICE. Then there's the relating to worker freedom, removal of historic memorials. So some ballot measures relating to election of judges, establishing corporate franchise taxes, relating to Medicaid expansion. There are a lot of ballot measures on here that may be relevant to your individual life. And if you have not seen them, please, for the love of God, you need to go to the Secretary of State's website. That's sos.mo.gov/petitions/2020 IP circulation. Now, what that means is 2020 initiative petitions circulation. So it's 2020 IP circulation. Election laws and initiative petition reform. So this is one, it's 2020-32, submitted by Damian Johnson. The ballot title was certified on February 19, 2019. Do you want to amend the Missouri Constitution to prohibit any changes to election laws without voter approval? Prohibit a filing fee for proposed initiative petitions. Prohibit requiring initiative petition circulator from being a Missouri resident or registered voter. That would mean anybody could come in and circulate a petition. Allow signature gatherers to be paid per signature by the hour or any way agreed to. And require Secretary of State's office to establish and operate a web-based application that allows people to sign initiative petitions electronically. Look, if that was in place, marijuana legalization would have already happened. So I have no idea how they came up with a dollar amount, but projected dollar cost on that is a one-time cost of $240,000 and increased annual cost of $38,000. So I don't know where they got that number, but hey, maybe they're right. So please go take a look at the ballot petitions are out here. There's one eliminating daylight savings time. I think I'm good with that. Another one relating to prison terms and parole, Medicaid expansion, voter registration, voter methods, quite a few of those. So please, this is your state, and this is how you can express your view. Even if a ballot initiative does not get the number of signatures it needs, be aware that the legislature is paying attention to what has been filed. They know what's been filed. They know what's been approved, and they're seeing how people are reacting to it. And I will guarantee you they're looking at Facebook, and they're looking at the political perception of people when they're talking about these things. Personally, one that I happen to be very much in favor of, aside from the ones to legalize marijuana, would be the personal property tax. I'm totally opposed to personal property tax. All right. So I have been rambling on, and hey, me too. Awesome. Good. Look, some of these ballot petitions are on Facebook and on Facebook groups. Personal property tax does. It's STOPP. Missourians for a New Approach has a Facebook as well. Perhaps they are coming up with a way that they can collect signatures and get around this and make a final push. I hope that they do. I hope they're able to. But if they are not, we're going to see a sad ballot measure on this ballot we have coming up in September or November. Wow. Maybe I need to go back and go to bed. So we'll see what they're going to do. And I don't know what they're going to do. I'm hoping that we're going to get these signatures in, but Missourians for New Approach does not seem to be very hopeful that they're going to get that in. And if you've been following the news, it's yes, I agree. I agree. So for those of you, sometimes you'll hear me make a random comment. I'm looking at the comments when I make responding to that. So Dan Vietz is a lawyer out of Columbia. He's been heavily involved with the process. He was interviewed as well. So anyway, take a look at it. Take a look at what's going on. Contact the organizations that are proposing ballot measures that you're interested in. Go to the Secretary of State's website, sos.mo.gov. Take a look at the ballot petitions. Take a look at what's been proposed. And folks, the deadline is May 3rd. If they don't have their signatures in by May 3rd, they are not going to get on the ballot. So see what it is you like, and then contact either the person who submitted the ballot measure. It will be on the ballot on Secretary of State's website. When you go and you click on that one, it'll give you a link. For example, the medical marijuana submitted by Brad Ketcher, P.O. Box 190201, St. Louis, Missouri 63119. Okay, go to their websites, go to Facebook, stop Missourians for a New Approach, and make contact with them. Most of them will have a website as well. Make contact. See how you can get your signature into them. See how you can help get the ballot proposal circulated, and see if there's any way that you can get this last push in during these final 3 weeks, even during this period of stay-at-home orders. Surely there's something that can be done for citizen participation in government. They want you to get out and walk, right? They want you to meet in groups of less than 10. I mean, when was the last time you saw somebody passing a signature petition to more than 1 or 2 people at a time? Maybe that's what you need to do. Set up a table, step away, and let people walk up and sign it and just give them instructions. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I know we've got to figure out a way to maintain that participation in government. So thank you very much. I'm going to call it for today because, well, I can keep repeating the same thing, but some of you are simply not going to like that because, well, hell, I don't like to hear myself repeat myself. I know the kids don't. So thank you very much for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, tell your friends, have them join us, have them come and visit the channel. The likes and the subscription, that's the logarithm. More people will see us, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much. Stay safe out there. And, I hope that you get through this little epidemic time with as little impact on your life as you can. sometime this next week, I'll be putting up a video following up on what's going on with the stimulus funding that they have talked about and what businesses are receiving it and what businesses haven't. I'll give you a hint. I don't see many of the medical marijuana businesses in Missouri receiving any of it. Some of the other businesses, we'll see if any of the businesses that have been longer established in other states will be receiving any of it. But we'll talk about what to do and how to access things like that as the process becomes a little more involved. So thank you very much, and we'll be talking again soon.